Hi there, this is Alison from Freddie Loves Crochet, and today I'm bringing you a stitch tutorial on how to make crochet cables. They look really complicated. One of the rows out of them is probably the trickiest and is a little bit more complicated, but generally if you have some basic crochet knowledge and some basic crochet skills, you should be able to get on pretty well with this today. So I've just made a swatch size here. I'm going to talk you through how to do a swatch the same size as this, but if you wanted to make something bigger or smaller, I'm going to give you the multiples that you need to work out to be able to do that. So if you wanted a big cable blanket sort of thing, you can work out the multiples for yourself. Basically, the tutorial is to teach you how to do it as opposed to how to make a project with it. So grab your hook and any corresponding yarn, and we will get crocheting. You want to start with a chain, which is a multiple of 8 plus 4. So I have got 28 chains here because a multiple of 8 is 24. And another 4 chains on top of that would be 28. So a multiple of 8 plus 4 for the swatch size. So I've got 28 in total for the swatch size, but if you wanted to do a different size, then any multiple of 8 plus 4 for your starting chain. You're then going to go from the second chain from the hook. I'm just going to zoom in here for this. So not counting the loop that's on your hook, and we're not going to work into that first one directly underneath. We're going to go to the one after that, and you're going to place half double crochets, which is a half treble in the UK terms, half double in the US terms, in each chain along. So yarning over into the chain, yarning over and pulling that out of the chain to give you your 3 loops, yarning over and pulling through all 3. Yarning over into the next chain, yarning over and coming out of the chain with your 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3. You're going to do that in every chain along. Pause the video here and I'll meet you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of the row now. I'm just doing my last half double in that stitch. So if you started with 28 chains, you should now have 27 stitches. So however many chains you started with, you should now have 1 stitch fewer if you're doing a stitch count. So we're going to chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to go back along doing another row of half double crochets, remembering that that's a half treble in the UK. We're going to go through every stitch again. Pause it here once again, and then once we start row 3, we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty then and start making our cables. I'm at the end of the second row there, so I've got 2 rows of half double crochets. I'm going to chain 1, and this is where we're going to start with our cables. So either side of the cable at the ends are 3 regular stitches. Then the cables take place over 5 stitches, and then in between each set of cables I've got 3 stitches as well. So it's 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, and that's how it goes along like that. So you should start and end with 3, and then like I say, the cables take up 5 stitches. Can be worth just keeping an eye on that, because it can help you when you're doing your pattern to make sure that you've got the right amount of stitches in between the sets of cables. So I've come to the end of the row, chaining 1 and turning. So I'm going to do my first set of 3. And we're carrying on with half double crochets here, half treble UK. So I'm going to do 3 half doubles, which is this bit here before we get to the cable. Give myself some more yarn. Okay, so we're now going to be working in rows below where we should be. So instead of putting our hook here, we're going to go all the way down to the post that's below. We're going to work around a post here. So rather than going through the work to the back, we want to pick up the post. So we're going we're doing a front post. So we enter the from the front, we go around the back of the post of that stitch, and we come out the other side. The stitch we are aiming for is 2 rows below. So it's not the one directly below. It's the very first one. So obviously you've got your chain row and row 1, and that's the one that we're aiming for here. Identify that first before we make the stitch. Now we need a longer stitch here to create these length of cable to give the texture. So we're going to do a treble crochet, which is a double treble in UK terms, which means I'm going to yarn over twice first. Then I'm going to go and do my front post around. So this is where the hook is going to be inserted. And then I'm going to yarn over and pull through to give me 4 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and take them off 2 at a time. So yarn over once, yarn over and twice, yarn over 3 times. So you can see this is how the texture starts to appear on the fabric. So we're going to do that again, yarning over, and we're going to go, sorry, yarning over twice. We're going to go to the next post along again. So we're going, here's where we did the first one, so the next one is a little bit easier to spot. Around, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through. So you've got your 4 loops, and then yarning over and taking them off 2 at a time. So there's our first 2. The next stitch needs to be a half double crochet, and it needs to make sure that we don't work, because we're going to go back up to here now. We're not working the front post for the half doubles, only for our trebles. We need to make sure then that we don't work in the wrong place. So we've skipped 2 stitches. So we've skipped that one because we've worked in front of it, and we've skipped that one. So these represent the 2 longer post stitches that we've worked in. So this is the one we're going to put our next stitch into. It can be worth looking at that and making sure, because it's really easy to go in the wrong one. So it's worth counting the 2 that haven't been worked behind, and then you're going to do a half double in the top there. Once you've done that, we're returning back down to here. So we're now going to the front post 2 rows below of the next stitch, which is here, and we're going to do 2 more of those front post treble crochets again. So yarning over twice and going to the next one. There we go. So you can see, you compare it to this, you can see some texture there starting to form. So we've got those first bits. Now, like I said before, that was a set of 5 stitches, and we've got sets of 3 in between. So then making sure that we don't go into the 2 stitches that we've skipped, we're going to now do 3 half double crochets, 1 and 2 and 3, before we repeat this process again. So yarning over twice, here's where I should work, go 2 rows below, find the post, and you're going to work at the front of it like that. And then finishing that double crochet, treble crochet, nice tall stitches. Another one again, so yarning over twice, we're going around the post next to the one we've just done. Don't forget, if I'm going a little bit too fast, you are able to use the YouTube functionality to slow this video down if you need to. And now we've done our 2, we return back up to here for a half double, making sure we skip the 2 stitches that our front posts sit in front of. So a half double at the top here. Yarning over twice, we're going to do 2 more front post trebles. Remembering that they are a double treble if you prefer the UK terms. There we go. Give myself some more yarn. And we've got one more set to do on here, because I'm doing a set of 3 cables. So in between, again, we have our 3 half double crochets, 1, 2 and 3. And then we're going to do this one more time. So trebles, yarning over twice, 2 rows below. And for 1, and then again. We do 2 of those, and then we make sure that we don't work into the 2 that are behind it, and put a half double at the top there, and then 2 more again around those front posts. 2 and 3. Last one. Got my hair there, lovely. Again, another half, and this time because we finished it there, we should end up with 3 stitches left at the end, which is thankfully what I've got, and then 3 half doubles to finish off. So there's 1 and there's 2, and don't forget that the ends of rows with half doubles are typically quite tricky to see. They bend round corners, that last stitch, and whether you're doing a, you know, whatever make you're doing, the last stitch of a half double can be tricky to find, but it is there. It just kind of sits a bit more vertical than it should. So that's row 3 done, where we've set up our cable stitches now. So the next row is really simple. You're going to chain 1, and so for row 4 you're just going to go a half double in each stitch across. So working in the top of every stitch across. I am going to let you pause it there, and then I'll meet you for row 5. So I've completed half double crochets all the way across there. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and we're back on the front again, and this is where we're going to do the part of the cable where we get the twist in. So this is arguably the trickiest row, row 5. We're going to start as normal with our 3 half doubles, because they will always sit either side at each end. 3 half doubles. Okay, so to get the twist, we need to skip some stitches, and we need to be working going straight to this set of front post trebles. So we're going to do some more front post trebles around the post that these have created here. So we're going to yarn over twice, and we're going to skip 3 stitches. So skip, 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 and the next one brings us to this front post here. So we're not going in the top, we're working around that front post here, and we're going to do a front post treble in that one across. It's what creates this diagonal look, and we're going to do another one in the next treble next to it, or around that post in the front there. Okay, all starts to get look a bit weird at this point, but it does work eventually, I promise. So we now got to do our half double, which normally would sit in the third of those skip stitches. So we skipped 1, we skipped 2, and we skipped 3. So if we were just doing regular like we did here, the half double would sit in this third skipped stitch. So that's where you're going to place it now. So you're sort of working backwards, which is really strange, isn't it? You're going the opposite way. Now we need to do the diagonals this way. So we're going to yarn over twice, and we're going to go to that very first skipped front post stitch there, and we're going to make a treble post, a front post treble around that one there. So you can see we're starting to get a bit of a twist and the cable stitch in there. And then lastly, yarning over twice around the next skip stitch, which is a front post treble as well, and finish that off. And you'll see that you've got that twist now because we've worked in opposite directions. You now need to do your 3 half doubles, which are in between each set of cables, and then we do it all again. 1, 2, and 3. Let's go again. So we're going to do with the cable on this one now. So I've yarned over twice. I'm skipping 3. 1, 2, 3. So this is where I'm going to here. And again. So again, we're starting with that diagonal. Next, we need to do that half double crochet in the 3rd skipped stitch. That's 1, 2, and 3. So that's where I'm aiming for. And lastly, we need to then do our front posts around these 2 here. So we start with that first skipped one. And finally, that last skipped one. And again, if we lay it out, you can see the twist that is starting to form. So you're going to do, however long a piece you've done, then you need to do your 3 half doubles in between. And carry on doing this until you get to the end of the row, making sure that you finish with 3 half doubles. Meet me at the end and I'll tell you what to do next. So I've got to the end, chain 1, and like with all the wrong side rows, every wrong side row, it's going to be a row of half double crochets across. You may feel that it's what you've done with the twisting of the cable that your stitches are going to sit in the wrong place here, but they aren't. You just go through one after the other methodically from one side to the other, working in the top of each stitch, completing your half double crochet. So once you have completed that, meet me back for the final row of the tutorial. We're up to row 5 now. We've got one more row to do to complete the repeat for this. So we're going to chain 1 and turn, and as always, start off with our 3 half double crochets at the beginning of the row. Okay, so we're going to do front posts again. We're going to basically do what's the same here, except the front post where we had to seek them out and work around the stitch down here. We're actually going to work around the front posts, technically 2 rows below, but they're already in position for us because we're going to work around those posts. So we're not skipping this time. We want to go stack them straight above this time. We only do the crisscross every other time that we do these front post trebles. So yarning over twice, find that front post, which is there. It's usually fairly prominent. Again, working around it at the front of your work and completing that treble crochet. So there's 1. Yarning over twice again, finding that front post. It can be a bit tricky because the half double that you put in its place, so your half double that you put in there next to it can hide it a little bit. So a little bit of digging around, but you will get, so you can see how it sits again at the front there. You will get to grips with that. Then we need our half at the top there again, so our half double there. And then 2 more front post in the next trebles along. 1 and then 2. As you can see, it kind of completes the crisscross look. And then we finish that with 3 half doubles before we do it again. 2 and 3. And then once again, you're going to seek out, if you can't find those front posts, sort of have a little sneaky look underneath and you can find them there. They sit underneath those posts there. So there's the first one for our front post treble. 1. My yarn has just rolled off and gone all the way over the other side of the room. And then the next one along again. So these are just straight ahead, stacked above to give that crisscross look. And then again, we've done those 2, so we now need a half double, apologies, in the top there. And then 2 more front post trebles. And you will carry this along until you have finished your row, however long you've done it. Once you've done that, once you're at the back, you chain 1, turn. On the back of every row is always a row of half doubles, and then you go back to doing the crisscross row, which was row 3. So you're just alternating now, sort of this row and the crisscross row, and putting half doubles in between when you're working at the back of your work. Really simple when you break it down methodically into rows, but I appreciate it looks more complicated when you're just getting started. I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. I have lots of other things available on my YouTube channel. Please do give me a like and a subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon for some more crochet.